Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool and Ethereum ecosystems. My name is Wack. Today is July 10th, and today's episode is going to start with price action talk because we've got an all-time high for Bitcoin. After that, we're going to be talking about some votes that are live for Rocket Pool. We're going to be talking about using your rETH and getting yield and doing cool stuff with that. On the Ethereum side, we are going to be talking about some bullish reports that came out from Fidelity and Electric Capital. And then we're going to be talking about ETH treasury companies and a whole lot more. So let's get started.
10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
Okay, so I said normally we start with Rocket Pool stuff today, but today we're going to start with price talk. And we don't talk about price much on Rocket Fuel, but it's an all-time high day for Bitcoin. It hit actually a new all-time high yesterday, and then after that, it went on just under 12,000, and today it went up to 13,786 on Binance. So that was Bitcoin's doing really well these last couple of days. There's been some short squeezes that's been happening, and I think it's just generally like the crypto market is kind of sentiment is shifting bullish, which of course is really great to see. So Bitcoin is doing well, but what's doing better is Ethereum actually, which is really great to see. And it's been a while since Ethereum has had interest and has had the attention and had momentum. And it looks like all of those things are coming onto Ethereum right now. Now, in the last couple of weeks, there's been a whole lot of positive attention on Ethereum, and it looks like that is starting now to reflect in the price action, which is really wonderful to see. I'm going to be talking about a lot of those things coming up in the episode, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about that now, but I think it's just a matter of time before ETH is trading at higher numbers, and I'm really bullish right now. If any of you are following me on Twitter, you'll see that I'm posting really bullish ETH comments and replies, and I'm really trying to manifest those higher prices out into the world, and I'm really excited right now, as I always am about ETH and Ethereum, but I feel like we're at a point now where the wider crypto world and the TradFi world are starting to see things in Ethereum that they haven't seen before or in a while, and it's going to just do really amazing things. So yeah, and not to forget, RPL of course has also been pumping really nicely. It's actually outperformed ETH a little bit over the last few days, but it's actually been in a bit of a downtrend against ETH recently. So the ratio is quite low, as you can see over here. The ratio is down to 0.00192. That was actually yesterday. Let's see if someone's called ratio today. I think that the ratio is 0.00191,087. So ETH is going, and the RPL ratio has taken a little bit of a hit, but normally it will. Well, hopefully it'll start catching up from here and then outperforming, with that ETH beta play. But yeah, everything's doing well. Everything's kind of green. Sentiment is really good right now for ETH, especially, and really good things are ahead that we're going to talk about the ETH section later. But before we talk about the ETH section, let's actually talk about Rocket Pool. And Rocket Pool, in the DAO today, there are 2 new votes that are up and running. The first one is Saturn follow-up vote number 2, and this is for RPIP 72. So here, this vote will actually be tying up loose ends to unblock Saturn 1 implementation and auditing, and this needs a 75% supermajority for it to pass. Currently, the vote is standing at 100% in favor, 0% against, and 0% abstaining, and it has reached 68.7% of quorum. So it's doing quite well. Now, what happens if this is positive? If the vote wins, so a ratified supermajority is met, needed for inflation changes that will happen with Saturn upgrades, codify a specific design for stake and dissolve transactions, add a PDAO share variable for steering a portion of rETH revenue to the PDAO treasury, but it will start at 0% initially, and codify a design for capital distribution from validator exits and megapools. And then if the outcome is negative, then nothing will happen. but likely trying to figure out why the vote failed and then have a new vote. And then there's rationale here saying certain RPIPs expected some follow-up tweaks that would need clarifying or ratifying, and this vote is and this preceding discussion provided a platform for community members to rise and discuss any as yet unnoticed problems. So yeah, this is standard standard admin vote. Here I voted, it says simple admin vote for Saturn 1. Halula said useful additions, clarifications, no reason to object. Waldorf said these items are fairly boring and mostly represent decisions needed to move forward in Saturn 1. And yeah, so that is all looking good, which is really good to see. And then we have another vote going on as well, and this is for the IMC membership selection for the next year. So this time we are going with 7 members instead of 9 members, because only 9 people put their names forward for the IMC. And the top 9 nominees in order of power received will comprise the next IMC. If any elected members leave the IMC within 6 months, the runners-up may be asked to fill vacancies in order of power received. So this is from RPIP 20 and RPIP 10, and it's been around 14 months since the last full committee selection, and we need between 10 and 12 months is when the next selection is made. And the number of seats has been reduced largely due to low interest. This was temperature checked on the forum, so that information is there as well. And the vote so far, my face is kind of covering the vote, so sorry about that. But it's Waldorf with number 1 with 1,700 votes. And you can vote for everyone, not just one person, however you want to vote. So Val has 1,700 votes, Samus has 1,500 votes, Destroy has 1,400 votes, Halulu has 1,000 votes, Ken has 880 votes, Dukey has 790 votes, Scuzzle has 710 votes, Dr. Worm has 636 votes, and I am in last position at the moment with 604 votes. So if you actually have a look at the votes, you'll see that I actually didn't vote for myself and I voted for everyone else. I said all are great people, but I'm happy to be a backup. So I was kind of thinking about whether or not I want to keep being in the IMC. Of course, I've been in the IMC, this last year, and it's been a wonderful experience. But I wasn't sure about whether I wanted to keep doing it or not doing it. And I put my name forward, but I'm happy to be a backup. So it looks like people are working really nicely. And I'm sure that, the members who are going to get selected, they're all people that I worked with before, either on the IMC or on the GMC, the current top 7, or actually even Dr. Worm as well, and then the 9th one's myself. So I know all of these people are really going to pull their weight and really do good work. So that is all awesome to see. But yeah, if you want to see the vote and go and vote yourselves, then you can follow the link in the description and go and check out how the vote is going. And the URL is vote.rocketpool.net. So go and do that. It's been a while since we've had a vote, actually. Let me actually just go have a look. The last one was 4 months ago. So this has actually been quite a while since we've had a vote. But yeah, these two going strong. The first one is at around 68% quorum, and the IMC election is at 77% quorum. So, I'm suspecting that both of these will reach quorum soon. And that, of course, is really, really good to see. Okay, I want to talk about Liquity for a second. So Liquity, of course, released their version 2, and they've got a campaign going on where you have up to 10,000 bold up for grabs with the Liquity Saver campaign. So either migrate your loan from protocol that they support or create leveraged position on DeFi Saver to be eligible. So this is actually really cool. And you can fix your borrowing costs, earn attractive yields, have full control over your loan. So just use DeFi Saver or migrate to DeFi Saver to get some of that $10,000 that is available. If we actually go and have a look at Liquity really quickly, because it's been a while since we have, you can see that you can borrow against your rETH at 3.32% interest rate, which is some of the best on the market. And the total amount of rETH that has been deposited into Liquity is $5.4 million worth. Now the max LTV is a little bit lower than with ETH alone at 83.33%, but it's really nice. And if you are actually using bold, if you mint bold or if you buy bold on the market, you can put it in the stability pool and you can actually earn some really good yield from that as well, and potentially be eligible for airdrops from Liquity forks that might happen. So if that's something that you're interested in, go check that out. Okay, and then next we have Factify here with a really interesting strategy for you to boost your rETH yield. So it says quadruple your rETH yields by looping it against wrapped ETH borrowers on Grow Compound with minimal liquidation risks. So it says take advantage of Rocket Pool ETH liquid staking yields to earn 10% APY on ETH while preserving the underlying ETH value. So this is live on Arbitrum now, and you can see they've got a whole explainer of how it works. So you get about 2.5% yield on your rETH, and the borrow rate for ETH at the moment on Compound is 2.23%, and then you also get comp rewards for compound borrowers at 0.7%. So it says you borrow wrapped ETH against your rETH, and then use the collateral to go get more rETH. So it's simple looping, like you deposit your rETH, get ETH, use that to buy rETH, then deposit that again, and do that multiple times. So here they're saying that if you loop it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, you can get 10% yield on APY overall across all loops. So on the first one, you'd get 2.5%, then you get 1.1%, then 1.1%, then 1.1%, then 1.1% on the next one, and then the total amount is, a 10% APY. So if you think this is complicated, then there's a strategy that you can do with Factify, and then if you think that you can do better than the strategy, then you can make up your own strategy on Factify as well. And I've talked about Factify on Rocket Fuel before. I should make it clear that I have never used Factify myself. I've not been paid by Factify or Liquity or anyone else to talk about these, so I can't actively endorse Factify, but they've been going for a while and it looks like people use it. So yeah, please do so at your own risk, but that's pretty cool. Boosting your rETH 10%, I think, is some of the best rewards on the market for rETH right now, if you want to take that. Okay, let's go to the Rocket Pool Discord here, and a mini pool was actually dissolved overnight, and this is a really rare thing to happen, but it happens once in a while. And what happened is basically someone started a mini pool, but they didn't stake. They didn't do the stake transaction, and because of that, you have 14 days to stake your ETH. And because they didn't have because they didn't do it in the 14 days, that got dissolved. And then a whole bunch of the ODA members kind of agreed to that. And this person actually had multiple validators dissolved. It's a bit of a faff to get your money out once it's been dissolved, and I think what happens is you actually need a little bit of money to get your money out. Like, you have to kind of make up the whole validators amount. I'm not sure exactly how it works. Yeah, so if this is you whose validators have been dissolved, then go into support and someone there will talk you through how to get your ETH back and try again. Okay, let's move on to some staking news now. And in staking news, we've got a couple of client releases, and here there is one from Lighthouse. So this is a low priority release. However, what's interesting is that they are setting the default gas limit for 45 million gas, which is really cool. And then there's a bunch of other optimizations and stuff in there as well. Another one is Nimbus. And Nimbus are also increasing the default gas to 45 million. So it looks like, in the next couple of days, the whole of all the clients will basically be saying 45 million. So I think it'll only be a few days after that where we should have the amount, to gas increase. So right now we're at 26.5%. Once we get over 50%, then that will become the default gas, which of course is what we want to see, because now it's safe. Okay, there's more staking news, and this is for people who run their nodes from home but like to SSH into their node machine using a client machine. And if you use Tailscale to do this, then you can do that from anywhere in the world. I use Tailscale myself. So here we have an update from Tailscale saying that the domains login.tailscale.com and controlplane.tailscale.com began resolving to static IP address ranges registered to Tailscale. So it said we recommend configuring firewalls using domain names rather than hard-coded IP addresses. However, if IP address-based rules are required, the following ranges should be explicitly allowed. And then there's some information there for the IP addresses you can set. So if you use Tailscale and if you're not sure what you need to change, then pop into support in the Rocket Pool Discord and someone will talk you through what you need to do. But if you want to keep SSHing from an external network into your node, then this is something that you'll have to do and make sure that you got it all set up properly. Okay, let's move on to some Ethereum news, and we have some really, really bullish news starting. So Ryan Sean Adams here, the host of Bankless, and he says it's finally happening. TradFi analysts are realizing the right way to value ETH is as the store of value asset on an emerging economy. So brand new ETH report from Fidelity, and everything we've been saying for years. He says, I'm euphoric in this moment. ETH is the world reserve asset. So he's got a couple of screenshots here. So the Institutional Insights here is a report, and they're saying that blockchains as emerging economies, it says fundamentals-based framework to assess economic activity of blockchain may help asset allocators in their investment decision making. And here they're talking about blockchains can incorporate GDP-like frameworks to illustrate how the economic activity has developed. And here they're talking about it in terms of ETH, and they're talking about different categories like consumption, government, investment, and net exports. And some of these values, people have had some questions about it, but overall, they think it's really cool. And then they said that Ether can serve as a medium of exchange and a store of value, which of course is what people in the Ethereum community have been kind of like banging on about for a few months now. So, well, years now even, but in the last couple of months, this kind of messaging has gotten really strong. And the fact that Fidelity, like in TradFi now, are understanding that, it's really cool. And then there's another slide here of them saying that digital economies such as the Ethereum network can facilitate several offshore and onshore assets similar to traditional economy like that of the United States, and talking about how you can have capital formation, disclosures, rules, examples, and lots of different things. So if you actually want to read the full report, you can before we go to the full report, here Tom Lee, of course, is getting in on this. He is the chairman now of Bitminer and Bitmine, who have become an ETH Treasury company. And he says Ethereum is sitting at the convergence of Wall Street and crypto. And then Leo here sent the tweet out about the Fidelity report, saying Fidelity just dropped a report that changes everything. They say ETH isn't a tech stock. It's a digital economy with its own GDP, monetary policy, and asset demand. And here's what they reveal. So this is more than just a tech stock. It is required for the economy of Ethereum. ETH is required for that. Ethereum's GDP is exploding, and Fidelity will, they measure it like a real company. So the consumption of the economy is like gas fees, investment is like staking and DeFi, the government is validatory rewards, and exports are stable coins and bridges. ETH captures across all of those. And then they say that ETH isn't slowing down, it's onboarding the whole world and doing that through daily transactions, which are at an all-time high. The same block space is money, and shows that Ethereum's fees are driven by real demand. 47% of finance, 25% trade, and 6% art and entertainment. And that's a diversified, thriving digital economy. And then Leo talks about how it has a GDP. So they have sales taxes, gas fees, app revenue, service fees, bridges, exports, ETH staking is investment, and grants equals public spending. And it's not a tech bet anymore, it's a digital nation state. And then there's the reserve currency of the digital economy is ETH. So 74% of all DEX trades use the ETH pair. ETH is top collateral in DeFi lending. Even stablecoins like DAI are backed by ETH. So it's not just gas, it's the base asset of the system. And then the monetary policy in code is like with demand, there's a burn with EIP 1559. With security, there's issuance through staking. And supply is elastic and programmatic. So that is, set at the rate of how much staking there's happening with a max issuance of 1.5% per year. This is Fidelity calls this explicitly linked to economic activity, ETH a dynamic and self-regulating currency. And then there's a block space demand and ETH staking, and ETH's usage is diversified. And ETH is not just a store of value, but it also secures DeFi, backs stable coins, earns yield, and it burns with demand. And then don't think of it as a tech stock, think of it like a country. And this is really, really awesome stuff. So if you actually want to read the report, you can find it here in the link below. And it's written by Paul Lang and Anis Rachel, I think. Sorry, my eyesight isn't what it used to be. Anis Rachel. So these are head of investments and research analysts at Fidelity, and they have put out an absolute banger of a report with about Ethereum. So yeah, this is really awesome stuff, and people in Ethereum land were actually really, really happy to see this kind of content and get the idea now that, you know, TradFi is actually finally starting to understand what ETH and Ethereum are, which of course is awesome. Here we have another report, and this one is from Electric Capital, and they said stablecoins are spreading the dollar faster than any financial tech in history. Ethereum is becoming the financial backbone. So here, remaking the case for ETH for Ethereum's 10th birthday. So beyond stablecoins, the case for Ethereum and how the growth of stablecoins drives demand for ETH. So there's an article that you can see the full report here. There's a PDF that you can download. If I click that, does it just open the page? Let's see. Yes, it does. So they've got, you know, a whole lot of information here, but some of it is actually really interesting. We'll just stick with the tweet. So it said demand for the dollar exploding. So all-time high stable coins in crypto. The majority of that is, of course, in Ethereum. And then you can hold, anyone in the world can hold dollars now. They've had a 60 times growth since 2020, which is just astronomical, and that's just going to keep going. So people just don't want to hold dollars. They also want to do stuff with it. And on Ethereum, you can get yield, lending, investments, and wealth creation. This is actually really interesting. So it says to meet the demand for truly global financial services, a system must be accessible globally, safe for institutions, security and regulatory clarity, and resistant to government interference. So here you can see that, those three categories. Ethereum has check marks for all of those. Solana has not got check marks for all of those. Other blockchains have less, and then traditional bankings, none of them basically have check marks for all of those except Ethereum. And then it says Ethereum uniquely delivers a global financial system, and it delivers on all three requirements because of its decentralization built over 10 years. And if you go on, then they talk about how there's a growing demand for stablecoins, which has more stablecoins put to work on Ethereum, and then greater use of ETH as collateral, and then ETH price in the Ethereum security strengthens, and more institutional build products on Ethereum, which then grows the demand for stablecoins. So there's a really cool flywheel here that's going on. This is actually really cool about a store of value properties for ETH asset, and this is ETH has superior properties to legacy store of value assets and also provides yield. So here they're measuring the different store of value qualities that assets can have, and some of them like art, gold, US Treasury, stock, and retail, they have some of these qualities. They don't have other of these qualities like portable, divisible, durable, scarce, yield generating, seizure resistant, and programmable. And the only one that has all of these qualities is ETH, which is amazing. And this is the thesis is simple. Stablecoins are onboarding millions into dollar-based finance. They need a financial system that's global, scalable, trustless. Ethereum runs it, ETH secures it, and go and use ETH and Ethereum. So yeah, this is really, really awesome. So they said that, we believed in programmable money since 2018. We made the institutional case for Bitcoin at our founding. Now we're doing the same for Ethereum. More thesis posts are coming, and then you can get details at Electric Capital, which is their website. So here, Ryan Adams, again, the first person, says, exactly right. Well done on this report. You've attracted a fantastic team there. And Maria says, thank you. So yeah, this is really, really great stuff. There was a lot of bullishness about these reports. People shared screenshots from them. People shared tweets about them. this was really, really cool that we got these couple of reports from, you know, proper TradFi company and a crypto company, just talking about how awesome Ethereum is. We need more of this stuff. So yeah, if you want to read the report, the link is in the description below, and you can read the whole thing. It is 15 pages, and it's got all the information that we just kind of summarized with those tweets. Okay, with Treasury companies, BTCS actually are pumping the volume. It's really, really cool to see. So they put out tweets a couple of days ago saying that they want to raise $100 million. Their share price was going wild, really, really strong performing, over 100% up on the day. And Charles Allen, their CEO, was like, actually, you know what? We want to raise more money. So he actually says we're raising the funding target to $225 million to accelerate their Ethereum accumulation strategy. So it's about scaling ETH per share, not just raising capital, and the same flywheel that we talked about the other day. One of the things that I missed actually the other day was right here on the bottom left of the slide. They said that they want to earn ETH revenue by staking, and they operate nodes for Rocket Pool. So they've been working with Rocket Pool as node operators for quite a while actually, and they want to keep doing that, I guess. So this is really, really great to see. I really hope that they actually buy our ETH, because Rocket Pool really needs people to buy our ETH, and then they can go loop it on Factify, you know, if they want to do that. But they want to actually, like, you know, put their ETH to use, whether that's through staking or DeFi, I guess. But it looks like they want to do it through staking. So that's really cool. That's really bullish. And yeah, this is this thing they're going to do at the market equity issuance under our $250 million shelf, and then they're going to be doing convertible debts, on-chain borrowing via Aave. Current net cost is about 3%, and then staking yields from node operators, and revenue from Builder Plus, our proprietary block building platform. So they're doing some really, really cool stuff here. Actually, their block building platform has a problem in that it's still censoring Tornado Cash transactions. So they really need to fix that, because obviously that's not illegal in the US anymore. But other than that, these guys are doing really, really, really awesome things. Yeah, that's really cool. And then Charles here has actually been appearing on interviews like the Paul Barron network, which has 1.55 million subscribers. So this video, it's like the Ethereum podcast with Paul Barron, and this one has 47 million views already, talking about ETH strategy companies, ETH treasury companies. And here Charles talks about how they've been using Rocket Pool as well. So yeah, there's some really, really good stuff here. It's awesome. Like, these guys are really pushing the limits of raising money and bringing attention to ETH, which of course I love to see. However, it's not all roses and sunshine. There are some things that you need to be aware of if you want to invest in the shares for these companies. So Laura Shin here says, one popular method of raising money for crypto treasure companies has already caused major drops for 2 firms. Another 4 could be on the way. So they said that 2 big cautionary tales that investors need to know are Apexi, I guess, Solana Treasury Company, and SharpLink, a firm focused on Ethereum, says both raised massive sum via pipes, and their respective shares precipitously fell after they became tradable. So this is investigation by Unchained Stephen Elrich reveals more companies that are in similar danger zone, like Bitmine, Asset Entities, Strive Asset Management, SRM Entertainment, Tron, and Kindly MD Nakamoto. So it says that basically what happened is that they print all these shares, and as the shares become available, obviously the fully diluted value of the company drops quite a lot. The share per fully diluted value drops a lot. So here, for example, you can see that SharpLink for Ethereum, they announced a $425 million raise. So the pipe shares were 58.7, and then share supply before the offering was 0.66. So they actually had a share ratio of their pipe versus share supply was like 9,000% or some huge amount. Yeah, it's a lot. So yeah, this is something that like you need to be aware of, obviously, if you are investing in any of these companies, because what they do, right, is as the share price goes up, then they make new shares of the company and sell those to raise money to buy more ETH or whatever they're trying to accumulate. And you've got to be aware that that's going to impact the share prices. There's going to be a lot of volatility in that. But the general idea is that they're going to keep accumulating more and more ETH in this case, and it might be that the share prices go in waves with hopefully a general trend upwards as they get more and more ETH. Here, Gregory actually had an interesting point. He says, a lot of these companies, their price actually goes up very quickly. And he says but it's only the pipe that causes the stocks to go up in the first place, before they have those drops. This is before their fundraise treasury conversion. They're completely worthless shell companies. Buy beware, but anyone can read the pipe agreement and see that it's mandatory to file registration statement for the underlying shares. The interim price is completely artificial. There's no flow and no borrow to short it. And no one actually believes that UPXI should have traded at 15 times NAV. You're correct that the second pipe holders can sell. Price returns to a more rational level. So yeah, with those initial spikes, hopefully as things go forward, that volatility should kind of be arbed out, and the price should be a little bit better. But yeah, that's something to be aware of. It's not all, like I said, sunshine and roses. We already covered that, yeah. Okay, there's a big announcement out of the Ethereum Foundation saying reintroducing ecosystem development, and this is actually really, 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 really great to see. It's something that we've been banging on about for a long time. Is like, why isn't Ethereum working with ecosystem development? And here we actually have an explainer from James. He says the big changes are coming to Ethereum Foundation's ecosystem development cluster to support real-world adoption, and here's what's changing and why it matters. So EcoDev is composed of the teams that help users onboard, support builders, steward local communities, and fund public good, so Ethereum stays resilient, human-centered, and useful to the world. It says to help us better achieve these goals, we're expanding and reorganizing the cluster into 4 key areas. So ecosystem acceleration, ecosystem amplification, funding support, and long-term unblocking. And then it explains how that is happening. So they're increasing ecosystem growth by supporting builders, devs, founders, and enterprises pushing Ethereum forward, which is awesome. With ecosystem amplification, they're tracking ecosystem growth, running targeted events, building community hubs and local events, plus showcasing Ethereum through tech and media, which is awesome. Then Digital Studio, that was the formerly Ethereum website and a Twitter account. This is the innovation and storytelling engine. They're going to have special events. They're going to have Ethereum everywhere kind of narratives coming out, and dev automation as well. And then the ecosystem funding, they want to support the ecosystem financial and non-financial resources. So there'll be grant support and launch pads, and targeted to include non-financial support as well. And then there's long-term ecosystem unblocking. So it says we're continuing our long-term streams to work to remove obstacles, adoption around the world. And then that'll include things like policy coordination, institutional secretariat. So they'll have governments and NGOs, and academic secretariat as well will work with universities and research. So this is all really, really, really great stuff. This was something that's been lacking in Ethereum for a while. People were saying for a long time that we need the Ethereum Foundation to be, helping app builders, the app ecosystem that's already out there. We need more of that, and it looks like this was one of the things that the new leadership at the Ethereum Foundation heard, and that they want to start building out. So yeah, this is really, really exciting. It's actually really awesome. So I'm very excited to see what kind of results this is going to get in the coming months and years. Okay, some sad news actually out of GMX, and GMX is like a perps trading platform on Arbitrum, and for a while it was like their biggest app on Arbitrum, and it looks like they got hacked yesterday for $40 million. And here's a screenshot of the money leaving. It's really sad news, and we never want major apps on Ethereum to get hacked. But this is a hack that's happened. As I get more information, I'll share that with you all. But yeah, that's sad news. In better news, we've got an update from Growthepie, which is actually a really cool website for understanding the Ethereum ecosystem. And they actually have a new Ethereum ecosystem page that has information about mainnet and layer 2s. Let's actually have a look at the page. It's really, really awesome. So the first thing it tells you is about Ethereum uptime and how it has been up for 9 years, 11 months, and 10 days. And there's been zero downtime in that time. It's got some information about network upgrades and the upgrades that have already happened. Next, it tells you Ethereum ecosystem transactions per second that are happening right now. So Ethereum right now is doing around 400 transactions per second. It looks like about 300 transactions per second, with some ups and downs there. It looks like the majority of that is happening on Base with over 170 transactions per second just a second there ago. But then we also have World Chain, Ethereum Layer 1, Unichain, Tyco, Arbitrum, Inc., Towns, Sonium doing some meaningful transactions, but the majority of those transactions are happening on Base, which is really, really cool to see. That the number of transactions just like awesome. The fees right now on Ethereum L1 are around $1 for token transfer. On layer 2s, it's a quarter of a cent. So it's really, really low, like really, really, really low. That's awesome. And then there's information here about economic activity and how it's shifting on chain. So app revenues on the Ethereum ecosystem are at $26.4 million a day, but that number is trending upwards. For the last couple of years, it's been slowly grinding up, and hopefully we're going to see really strong growth in that. With stablecoin supply right now, there is $143 billion worth of stablecoins on Ethereum and its L2s, and around 9% of that is on the L2s, which is really, really cool to see as well. And then here, the number of L2s that are live on Ethereum right now, 102 L2s, and the daily transactions are around 250 transactions per second on average over the day. And that number is approaching all-time highs, which is really awesome to see. So there's some information about the top L2s. And yeah, this is a really, really nice page that I'm going to be looking at quite frequently just to get the idea of what is happening. And they're going to have more information coming soon about the Ethereum ecosystem and builders and apps. So you'll be able to check that out if you want. And finally, we're going to end today's episode with some other news. And this other news is about US Treasury, how officially removing crypto broker reporting rules, according to Bloomberg. So this is actually really, really good news because having these broker reporting requirements that hadn't actually kicked in yet, but I think they were due to kick in next year, January 1st of 2026, I think. I'm not sure, someone can correct me if I'm wrong there. But these were really onerous. Like it would have to be that any app or DApp would have to collect tax information for anyone who kind of interacted with it. And obviously with DeFi, it's all permissionless. There's no one's going to give you that information because it doesn't exist. So yeah, it was going to potentially cause trouble for crypto. But now the US Treasury under the current administration realizes just how much of a problem that is, and are like, yeah, we don't do that anymore. So a lot of the restrictions that were kind of on crypto and around crypto in this last couple of years are basically going or have gone. And this was one of the last ones that was still poking around, and it looks like good things are happening for crypto. So yeah, then as we're hitting all-time high prices as well. So yeah, I think it's very positive time right now. But on that positive note, I'm going to end today's episode. So thank you all for watching, listening, and being part of the Rocket Fuel community. I hope you all have a lovely day ahead, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.